I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Strap in, because what happened today in Washington was a genuine anomaly. Common sense somehow slipped past security, wandered into a congressional hearing, and completely bulldozed a narrative. You know that moment when a question is so detached from reality, so wildly out of touch that every small business owner in America simultaneously does a double take and spits out their coffee. Yeah, that moment. Ilhan Omar asked one of those questions, and unfortunately for her, she didn't get a response from a career bureaucrat or a polished activist. She got corrected by someone who actually lives in the real world. You know, the place where paychecks are earned, not conjured out of thin air. Let's just say this did not go the way she expected, not even remotely.
Chair, Representative O'Neill, I'm just wondering, are there, as a union member for a long time, and I've also gotten an opportunity to work in the private sector, and I'm curious to know if you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees. I find that a little strange, and so I just wanted to know where that thought comes from, and if you know where an employee gets their pay decreased.
Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I was a business owner. I recently sold my share, so I don't own it anymore, but there are plenty of businesses out there, especially those that depend on employees' productivity. Like I was in the trades. So I owned a company that was a tile setting company. And if we didn't get out there and do the work, and if I didn't have highly productive employees, they were paid based on their productivity. So if they had issues, it is very possible that their pay would reflect those issues. If they were on probation for something, for some sort of violation, that could be coordinated with a pay reduction. It's something that businesses do all the time, and it could be the step before someone is actually fired. So it's an important thing, and it gets people's attention, when they see it in their paycheck that their performance does not meet the standard.
Representative Omar.
Hudson, I think did you have something?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Hudson. Was there a question for Mr. Hudson?
No, I think he was saying that he wanted to add something, so I didn't know if he had something to add.
Mr. Hudson, is there a response to the question? Do you have a response to that question?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am.
Saying that you aren't aware of any businesses that decrease pay? Because that was the question.
Madam Chair, I think what Chair O'Neill perhaps could be referring to, there are some instances where the pay structure is different. So for an example, she'd indicated that she had come out of the towel industry. I'm not sure if these were commissioned employees who may have been on like an 80-20 split. In that instance, there is a situation where a pay might be reduced. Or if we have a supervisor who perhaps had a performance improvement issue or a behavioral concern, and we demoted this supervisor, that is an instance where pay might be decreased. But just an employee who has not been under some sort of performance improvement program having their pay reduced, I've never heard of that.
Well, Mr. Hudson, I think Representative Neal knows exactly what she says. And I think we've had a little conversation back here when the question was asked. I know Representative Uglum, do you want to speak to that point?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Omar, if you happen to be a salesman in this world, and you could be selling cars, you could be selling siding, you could be selling just about anything, and you are paid on commission. So if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. So you can have good years, you can have bad years. Probably really one of the best examples is a real estate agent. So it's the idea that people can make less money year to year, not to mention all the bonus situations that are out there in industry. It happens a lot. It doesn't necessarily happen, here in the public sector, but it's pervasive and very, very common in the private sector. Thank you.
And I'd like to add that in the private sector as well, people, if they are not performing at their job, get demoted, and with that demotion comes a pay cut. And that's not even related to being in a commission position, that's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to make sure that
Here's how it went down. Ilhan Omar, safely insulated by a taxpayer-funded government salary, posed what she clearly thought was a clever gotcha. She said she finds it strange that an employer would ever reduce an employee's pay. Pause on that for a second. Strange, as if performance, productivity, and accountability are foreign concepts. You could feel the confusion ripple through the room. Because anyone who's ever worked in the private sector, construction, sales, trade, small business, commission-based work, knows this isn't strange at all. It's normal. It's standard. It's how the real economy works. Then the script flips. A Trump-up-supporting, business-minded representative calmly explains something that apparently sounds radical to the progressive worldview. If you don't perform, you don't get rewarded. If your productivity declines, your pay can decline. If you break rules, get put on probation, or get demoted, your paycheck reflects that reality. Not because employers are cruel, but because businesses aren't charities. They're engines of productivity. And this is where Omar's disconnect really comes into focus. She tries to limit the argument by saying, well, commission jobs are different. As if demotions don't exist. As if managers who fail don't lose status and pay. As if millions of Americans don't work in systems where results actually matter. Another representative jumps in and simplifies it even further. Sales jobs, real estate agents, car salesmen. You sell more, you earn more. You sell nothing, you earn nothing. That's incentive. That's merit. That's capitalism. The very system that made it possible for Ilhan Omar to come to this country and rise to political power in the first place. But instead of acknowledging reality, she doubles down, acting as though this concept is bizarre, abnormal, or somehow immoral. And that's when it becomes painfully clear. This isn't confusion. It's ideology. A worldview where outcomes are guaranteed, effort is optional, and accountability is considered offensive. The Trump supporter never raises her voice. She doesn't insult anyone. She just sticks to facts, experience, and logic. And that's exactly why it's so devastating. Because there's no arguing with reality. This wasn't just a poorly thought out question. It was a glimpse into how far removed some politicians are from the lives of everyday Americans who actually have to earn a living. People who don't get raises just for showing up. People who don't get promoted for vibes. People who understand that paychecks come from value, not entitlement. By the end, the tables were completely turned. What was supposed to be a smug lecture from Ilhan Omar became an unintentional economics 101 lesson she clearly never took. And once again, common sense, the kind Trump supporters are constantly mocked for, walked out on top. So the real question isn't why her question sounded foolish. The real question is how someone this disconnected from reality is still writing policies for people who actually have to work for A,